Hello everybody, welcome back to Movement Monastery. I'm Francesco and today we're talking about supplementation. Now, I want to be very clear about this from the very beginning, that I think everybody should be focusing on getting all of their nutrients from food first, mostly whole foods, vegetables, fruit, protein source of your choice, and not really focusing too much on these other things. However, I do feel that as a movement artist and someone that's really trying to take care of their body, that it is in your benefit to possibly look into some of these things. Now, everyone's going to have a different reaction to some of this stuff, but for the most part, on average, everyone's going to have a similar reaction to it. So keep that in mind. Take this with a grain of salt. You have to experiment and see what works for you. And I'm going to be giving links below to different types of credible resources of people that you can actually go into greater detail about this. I'm just showing you what works for me. I've had people ask me about this a couple of times. This is my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. This is my opinion on this kind of stuff. So let's get straight into it. My first recommendation for everybody is to drink more water. Oftentimes, when I am extremely tired, or my eyes are burning, or I'm just can't focus, or anything along those lines, it's just because I haven't drank enough water. And I feel most people don't drink enough water and probably should drink a lot more of it, especially if you're a bigger person or a thicker person or a little bit more muscular. You have more tissue on your body, and the more tissue you have, that means you have more water in your body. And you have to make sure to replenish that water. So it's very important, in my opinion, to drink more water. So that's the first supplement I think everyone should be focusing on. The second one is making sure that you're getting enough sleep. And I'll put a link below about this, but there was a really great sleep researcher on the Rogan Podcast. I don't know how much longer that will be up on YouTube because he's switching platforms, but I'll put a link below to the one that exists right now. And overall, yeah, it's you really can't make up sleep. And talking from experience myself, you know, I'm getting very little sleep these days, maybe 5-6 hours of sleep per night, because I am focusing so much on these YouTube videos. Now, I have found ways to work with that. I might take a power nap in the middle of the day, but overall right now, I could be getting better sleep, and I think everybody can, but it is kind of the American way sometimes that we're pushing a little bit more than we need to be, you know, and I do think that most of us actually would be more productive if we got the amount of sleep we needed and just had better time management skills instead of trying to cram everything into a small amount of time. So, making sure you're getting your sleep, that's another one. That's why I have a pillow here, in case you were wondering. Next one on the list, vitamin C, right? I take about 4,000, 6,000 milligrams per day. That's recommended by Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I'm going to have an article below about that. Really hard for you to go wrong with this one. It's very cheap, very easy to get a hold of, and the benefits that she's found from it are just over the top. And I always feel better, of course, when I'm using it more often. You can get chewable versions if you don't like swallowing pills, but yeah, that one's really cheap. You can get a hold of it really easily, and I think it's something beneficial for most people. The next one is vitamin D3. D3 is, I don't know what D3 actually means, but it's what Dr. Rhonda Patrick recommends. There are some people that really will benefit from this greatly because they have a vitamin D deficiency, or they just don't process it well in their bodies. I live in Arizona and I get plenty of sun, but after certain days I have to stay in for a long period of time. I don't have the time to go outside and go outdoors and get sunlight, especially in the time of the days when you can absorb the sun the best. Then I make sure to have this on handy. This is 5,000 IU, I think that's called micrograms. So I make sure to take one of those per day on the days that I don't get enough sun. I'm not outside doing chores or yard work or teaching. The next one over here is a B vitamin complex. B vitamins in general just help your overall mood, make you feel a little bit better. B12 is found in animal protein. And then there are other ones in here too. This one in particular is Mega B Complex by Irwin Naturals. I've always found I like this one more. Only problem with it is it comes in these gel capsules, and sometimes the gel capsules will rupture and it doesn't smell very good. So yeah, just be careful with that, and I'd keep it in a cool place. I wouldn't travel with this one too much, and it's in a big amount of it, because they'll stick to each other too. But yeah, this has a large amount of B12 in it. And supposedly in this format, it's methylcobalamin. Methylcobalamin. Yeah, I think I said that correctly. Supposedly that's a more absorbable form of B12, so that's why I like to get this one. This one's a little more pricey. The vitamin C and vitamin D, both of those are, in my opinion, way more affordable, and that's why I had them out here first. But this one's a little more pricey, and if you are getting most of your B vitamins already in from just eating food, you might not need this one. And again, I only take this one when I'm feeling like really lethargic and I want a little bit of a boost in there, kind of make up for some maybe lack of diet that I've been having going on. Then I take one of these in the process. So I find it's useful to have it around, but not absolutely essential. This is Emergen-C. I'll take a few packets of this with me when I'm going out training, especially if I'm going to be sweating a lot or just going to be outdoors a lot. Comes in these nice little packets. You just rip one open, throw it in some water, and you have yourself a little fizzy drink. It's got maybe 6 grams of sugars in it. It's not very much sugar in it at all. And that's just to kind of help out with drinking it. There's lots of different forms of this kind of stuff. There's different companies that make stuff like this, but it's just a packet. And again, I know I get mostly vitamin C from my supplement there, but when I'm out and about training, this also has electrolytes in it that are quite useful, different types of salts. And I've always found that in the middle of training, if I down one of these or after training, I'm recovering a lot quicker. Again, that has to do also with the water intake. Combined with this is just, in my opinion, one of the best things you could do. And I can't recommend this stuff enough as far as it goes. So really useful. These cost like maybe at the most $10 to $11 for a pack of 30. And you can probably get them on sale in bulk for even cheaper. So this is a very useful one in my opinion. I'd make sure to keep a couple of those with you at any given time. Over here we have creatine monohydrate. There's been loads of research done on creatine monohydrate, and I'll try to find one for you to look at, but if you just look up research on creatine, especially creatine monohydrate, you'll get lots of stuff involving that. It's already a naturally occurring substance in your body, and this is just putting a little bit more in there. You take about 5 grams a day. That's pretty much all you need. I actually put it in my coffee in the morning, just because I like to do that. And overall, if you're someone that does really power-based sports such as lifting, sprinting, tumbling, acrobatic work, anything involving using a lot of power and spring, then this is going to be a pretty useful one too, because once you use up your creatine stores in your muscles, then this becomes another thing for you to kind of dive into if you have a little extra in your body. So again, this is a great one. It also has some brain benefits as well. I would just look it up. It's a great supplement. Again, you do you, but I think creatine monohydrate, worth it, and it's fairly cheap as well. Next one on the list, we're going to talk about protein supplements. So I have 2 here. I have whey protein isolate and I have pea protein isolate. Now they actually pair up pretty well to one another, but I would ask you, of course, to do your own research and see which one works for you. Some people are like, I like the tried and true whey protein isolate, so they go after this one. The reason it's isolate is because just the whey protein by itself, people can have an adverse reaction because it's dairy or because of the milk inside of it. So the isolate kind of takes away that if you do have a lactose-based problem. The pea protein isolate won't have any of those issues whatsoever. And I take about a 1/4 cup of that, throw it into a shake that I might make, and I find it to be very useful. I'll put a link below to an article as well that kind of compare the two side by side, and you can decide for yourself. But I will tell you, overall, price-wise, pea protein is way cheaper than whey protein is, all right? You're looking at $5 per pound. This one's like $10 to $11 per pound. You can make the decision for yourself, okay? I think they're both great, but I will always go for the cheaper one if possible, if I can save myself some money along the way, right? So protein sources, supplementation right there. Next one I'm going to talk about is coffee. Now, of course, I drink coffee because of the caffeine, but I've actually grown to like just the process of smelling coffee, drinking coffee, and the whole rejuvenation process of that. Not everybody does well with coffee. Some people find it very irritable to their stomachs. and they drink tea instead, and that's great, same idea. Or maybe they drink a yerba mate or something along those lines, right? You have to know your body. You have to, as a movement artist, you have to, if you're going to be transforming your body with movement, you might want to consider getting something that's going to help transform you in other ways too. And I find that investing in coffee has been always a great thing. I like the lighter roasts because they tend to have a higher caffeine yield. I'll even grind up the green coffee beans raw and just eat the powder by itself. There was actually a great company called Go Bean that made that stuff for a while, and they were awesome, but I don't know if they've gotten any better since then, but their background, behind the scenes people just weren't very good at filling orders, and so I found that was not the best thing. Great product, just not the best thing as far as trying to get a business going. So yeah, coffee, lighter roast, I think is better. And I don't drink too much of it. This is like less than 8 ounces of coffee in the morning, just to kind of help get me off right. And I might drink a little bit during training. If I'm doing something that's really difficult and I really need to be focused, then yes, I'll drink right before training. But it doesn't really matter to me too much now. I've gotten to the point now where most of my things I can do without having to worry about that along the way. Last but not least, and I want you to take this one with a grain of salt as well, is this isn't a nutrient-based supplement. This is just an energy-based supplement. And it's kind of controversial, all right? But I like to use Broncaid, okay? And that's just a mild stimulant, similar to like caffeine would be, a mild stimulant. And this one actually, Broncaid in particular, just helps you to breathe better. But this is something you would take like right before training, to help give you a little bit of an energy boost. Now the reason why it helps you out is because it has ephedrine in it, but if you listen to this podcast I have linked below, I think you will get a very, very good, well-researched idea about the benefits of this one. And this is not something for little kids or anything like that. Coffee shouldn't even be for little kids. I don't know why I'm seeing kids drink coffee. I really don't know why. They have plenty of energy. I don't get it. But if you're I would say like middle teenager and up, and you need something to help you with some power-based workouts or to really, really focus on something that you're going to do that's movement-based, I found it to be quite useful. Again, I want you to listen to that podcast because it's going to explain everything so much better than I could about the benefits of that particular one. You can get this over the counter at like most places, and you just need your driver's license. So that's all you need to get it. And it's just, this particular form right here is just to help you breathe better. But overall, the ephedrine in it does help you wake up a little bit more. And you can research that, listen to that podcast, in my opinion, very well done, that podcast. Other things about this as well is that I don't take this very often. I only use it if I'm doing something that's really difficult. I need to focus really well. I need to be really in the moment. And so this is really useful for that. That's all I really got for you. That's all I've got for you. If you go down below, you will see every single thing here in links if you want to purchase it yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Write down below if you think that this was helpful to you. Again, please make sure you read those articles, listen to the podcast, and do some of your own research for yourself. You're the only person that can figure out if you need any of these things here. So keep that in mind, take everything with a grain of salt, and make sure that you're getting plenty of water, you're getting plenty of sleep, and you all have a great day. Subscribe!